Hey everybody, this is Kelly. Welcome to KO Airbrushing and Designs Tuesday tutorial. I've been requested to do one on light sources and shadows. So that's what we're going to work on tonight. I've got, I hope, a unique way of showing it to people to get you to understand here. It shouldn't take very long to set it, to lay it all out for you. We will be in the dark a little bit though. I do have to shut off my main lights in order to be able to show you how this is going to work. So yeah, we'll get right to it. Okay, so as you can see here, I've drawn out a circle and I've put 3 little plastic posts in it. So these are only, a couple inches high, but it'll work perfectly for our demonstration. So what you want to do is you want to pick a light source, and in order to do that, there's a couple of different ways. One is you can just take and, by looking at the circle, pick a point on the circle. And that works just fine. That'll absolutely work. So for example, we could take and pick a point over here where we want our light source to be coming from. So for example, over on my Facebook page, if you're not following me over there, please do. I do live feeds over there on Kelly Aubert Airbrushing and Design. Just type in KO Airbrushing. I do live feeds over there, and right now I'm working on a Volkswagen Beetle van cartoon type piece. And the light source that I'm using in that, if this line of posts was the way the van was sitting, this would be about where my light source is on that van. So what I do is I'll take it like that, and then if you think about it being in a dome, right? So you've got a dome set up like this, and this is going to give you the height of where you want your light source to be. So in this case, just grab a marker here. The light source in my van painting is up about, probably about there. And sorry, I know I'm around the corner and making it so that it's hard for you guys to see. But, so my light source, can you see that? Okay, right above the arrow, I've put a dot on the dome. So that's the height that I want, and that's the direction I want it coming from. So you can very much do it that way. And then the other thing that you can do, and like I said, what we'll do is we'll go into a low light condition here, and just using the small model that I've got set up here and a flashlight, you can take a look at where you want to set up your lighting. So for example, this is about where my lighting would be in the painting I'm working on. It'd be right about there. So you can see how your shadows are coming out, and depending on the distance that you pick for your light source, it's going to change how your shadows fall as well. Just move that over a little bit so you can see that better. There we go. Okay. So right now, with the light up close, it's hard to see. Hang on, I'm going to move the camera again here for a second here and show you a top view. So right now, I've got the light over here, and because it's fairly close, the shadows actually fall in 3 different directions. They're not going the same way because of the fact that that light source is close. Now, as you back that light source off, the shadows go the same direction. So that's the other thing that you have to consider, is not just the location and the height, but also the distance away from the object that you're working on. So zoom that back in just a little bit. There we go. So using a flashlight in a circle like this, you can decide from the point of view of wherever your camera is going to be, so to speak, or your viewpoint. It allows you to walk around that circle and pick exactly where you want your shadows. So if the light was directly behind you, your shadows are going to they're going to disappear. You're not going to see them. They're going to be directly behind the object if that light source is right over your shoulder. And as you move around the circle, going counterclockwise this time, those shadows will move. Eventually, they'll line up. So it does, just like they say, it works just like the hands of a clock. And this is really a good way of imagining it, right? And once you've got this kind of an idea down, and like I said, with the dome, that will allow you to set your height. Then all you have to do is pick your distance. So like I said, in this case, I got this little plastic bowl here just as an example for you guys. So right now you can't see it, but I've got my spot is right here. Move that over a little bit. Okay, yeah, there you can see the spot right there. So you can use this to imagine the direction and the height. And then all you have to do is put yourself inside that bubble, right? So it depends on exactly where you want your viewpoint to be. So for example, if your light source is still over here, you want your viewer to be, say, here. So you're looking at the side of the vehicle, right? But all your highlights are still going to be over here. Your shadow is still going to run out this way. And then the only thing that you have to be concerned about with that shadow is, again, the distance away that you're going to be. So your light source is there. If that light source is like way over that way, right, your shadows are all going to be going directional. Everything's going to work just perfect, right? And then the only thing you have to do is compensate for where your viewpoint is going to be, because the shadows that you see are going to differ depending on where you are. So if you're looking at the vehicle, say this is a vehicle here. Actually, let's make it a vehicle. We'll get these off of here. Okay, so that's what we've done with that. Okay, so we put a car down, right? Because I do a lot of cartoon stuff, that kind of thing. We'll put it this way. Let's actually get a good viewpoint here. So right about there. Okay. So same idea, we got the car in the circle. We'll go dark. And okay, same thing. So our light source is coming from over here. Because you're looking at the far side of the car, the shadow is on your side. You're also only getting light up the one side of the car and on the front end. Everything else is in the shadows on that side. So if your viewer is over here, that's what you're going to see. So now let's move the viewer over to the other side of the car. So I'll bring the camera around. Sorry, you're going to be upside down there for a second. My apologies. Hang on, I gotta pull some cord here. There we go. Okay, so light source, same place. No, because these are so close. Okay, here we go. Alright, so the light source is in the same place, so you get that bright side again. Now the back of the car is in shadow, but you've got that completely bright side. Now, another viewpoint would be over this way, where you're almost in line with the light source. So your light source would be here. Now you're going to see the car pretty much completely lit up. Everything is going to be fairly highlighted. Your shadow is going to be on the far side of the car. Now, like I was saying about the height, this might be a good angle to show you how that's going to work. So if your light source is way down low, your shadow is going to be really long, right? If your light source is up higher, your shadow is going to be nice and tight up against the car. And the longer the shadow gets, the fuzzier it gets at the farthest point away from the vehicle. It's going to be nice and tight right up against it, but as it moves away, it gets fuzzier, because the light is diffusing around the vehicle. So in this case, the light's not having a chance to diffuse. The shadow is super tight. I'll show you that from the top. So highlight, super tight shadow. As it comes down, the shadow lengthens out, and you see how it gets super fuzzy at the far end of the shadow. And that's going to become more pronounced if the light source is farther and farther away. So there you go, guys. Just a few little tips that I use to set up my shadows and keep everything fairly consistent. Works quite well for me. Give it a try. So like I said, we were using a light source from over here. So our shadow was coming out this way. Depending on the height of the light, depends on where the shadow falls, depending on where the viewer is, changes what you can see of it. So those are all things that you have to consider. You have to consider light source, obviously the direction of the light source is what I was aiming at there, the height of the light source, and the distance away from the object that the light source actually is on how long your shadows are going to be. The other thing is your viewpoint. Okay? So there you go, guys. Hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea how I construct my light sources and shadows when I'm doing my work. I hope I didn't make it too complicated for you. I wanted to make it so that it's easy to understand. Now, for anybody, if you do have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If you think the video was good, please like, share, subscribe if you're not. And please follow me over on my Facebook page too, KO Airbrushing over there. I do live feeds over there. If you have any questions that you want to ask, you can come over there too and ask me live. And feel free to follow along and join in. So anyway, I hope that helped you guys out, and I'll see you again on next Tutorial Tuesday. Not sure if it'll be next Tuesday or the Tuesday following, but there will be one within the next couple of weeks again. Okay, thank you very much for supporting KO Airbrushing and the tutorials. And like I said, I'll see you again soon.